Hi, Barker-Stargazer here, mum of 3 and general crafter. Say hello to my capybara. Hi. It's my birthday week this week and I have absolutely nothing done, but my hair and my makeup are done, so I thought I'd film my opening. As of yet, this video will be a surprise, not only to you, but to me. I've got no idea what it'll be. All I know is that my hair and makeup are done because we're going out in an hour for food and drinks for my birthday. I have a lovely squishy capybara from my children, and my husband bought me some Japanese Kit Kats. Right, as I said, let's see where this video goes. I've decided to go for a baby blanket as we do have a new baby coming in the family in 6 weeks. My youngest brother's having his first child, and this baby is going to be called Robin. So what better idea for a blanket than to do a robin tapestry design on one. So the actual picture of the robin will be the size that you can see me sketching here. I am sketching on A3 paper. The blanket is going to have a blue cream background, but a very, very pale blue. And I think I'm going to put a cream border on it as well. I am going to be working, I think, a stitch pattern for it. And I'm going to be working in a size 8 hook. Yeah, I'm going to work in an 8mm hook. Here's an example of the colours that I'll be using. The orange for the belly, the light brown there will be for the legs, but the dark brown for the feathers. I didn't have enough, so it was off to my yarn shop to get some of that brown. And now I can start. Okay, the initial chain stitch for this blanket was 60, and as you can see here, as I'm using a 8mm hook, I am working together 4 strands of double knit yarn. I chose to do 3 of those strands in the pale blue and the 4th strand in a cream. Now the stitch pattern I mentioned earlier is as follows. I am doing a full row of double crochet, that's single crochet in US terms. Then I'm chaining 2 and turning my work. The next row is going to be a full row of half double crochets UK terms, so that's half single crochets US terms. Then I am chaining 3 and turning the work. As you can see, these aren't the full rows, I'm just giving you an example here. This 3rd row in the pattern is a UK treble or a US double stitch. Now I am chaining 2, turning my work, and row 4 is a row of half trebles UK terms, so that is half doubles for US terms. Chain 1, turn, and now the entire pattern is repeating. and here you can see how the pattern looks. Now the robin tapestry is going to sit here in the middle of the blanket, and that is just going to be all in double crochet, single crochet US terms. So I'm just going to unpick this side here. So these stitch pattern rows, they are going to frame the robin, and on the side of the robin they are going to run in an opposite direction, but I will show you that when we get there. Okay, J. Barker's super simple way, well at least for me, of doing tapestry crochet is to crochet directly over the image that I am crocheting. So what I'll do is, like I'm showing here, I will simply crochet on top of my image. I'll place stitch markers where I need the colour changes to be, so that way I can save my back and I don't have to keep on leaning over the image itself. So the first row we were going to go to there was going to include the foot. Here we are further along. You can see there are more stitch markers in place which indicate all of the different colour changes needed. And I am colour changing in the stitch before the stitch markers, which means finishing off my double crochets in the colour that the next stitch needs to be. If you purchase one of my patterns, you actually do get a link to a colour changing video where I explain this in more detail. This dark brown here is for the feathers. So I believe that is a bit of the tail there, because that light brown coming up is the legs and they look complete there. I am catching the back threads in, but I'm only actually catching them in every other stitch. This prevents too much of a bleed through of your pushed back yarn showing through the front, because especially when you're working with lighter and darker colours as I am here, when you do switch colours a lot and catch all the yarn, the colours can bleed through. Oh, that was a lovely image there. As you can see, the robin was coming along quite nicely, and I've been putting stitch markers into my balls of yarn just to secure them, and you can see there were two separate balls of the background colour. That's so the yarn didn't have to be carried all the way across the back of the robin image every single row. It's just a way of saving yarn and saving unnecessary bulk building up when you're capturing your yarns in. I have to admit, working in a thicker yarn and a thicker hook size, I was worried that the image of the robin wouldn't come through as clearly, but you'll see at the end of the video it's come through lovely. The eye and the beak detail have managed to come through quite nicely as well. I think it's mainly because a robin is such a simple recognised shape that it's just translated really well. And also working in thicker yarn and well, now in my case thicker yarn, it's several strands held together, and a larger hook size has meant that this has come up relatively quickly, which was good considering the fact that I started this week's video really late and have left the editing here also really late. I'm also being very careful here to make sure that my threads are ending up on the wrong side of the work, so that's the back of the blanket. If you ever see on crochet patterns I'm referring to wrong sides and right sides, that's what it's referring to. It just means that there's going to be a messy side with ends all over the place that have all been woven in, and you can definitely tell that? You know, like when you get a sweater with an embroidered design on, you look at the back, you can see all the messiness of the colour changes and everything. That's just what it's referring to. So as you can see here, the robin panel in the middle is complete, and I have added a side panel. This is the exact same pattern of 4 rows that I did at the base, but I've simply attached them to the side. The idea is to give the finished blanket a border look, and I need to put the side panel on the other side now, and then there will be a section running along the top. With the stitches running in so many different directions, the end blanket is going to have a long blocking period, but I'll deal with that when it's all done. As I say, baby's not due for 6 weeks, so I've got plenty of time. So I've just reattached my background yarn to the side panel here, and I simply began my pattern of rows again, starting with the full row of double crochet all the way down. Here comes the slip stitch into the base. So that slip stitch is counted as one of the chain stitches for the turn. I'm just checking the height of the stitch there so I don't distort the blanket, as it's going to need quite a bit of blocking anyway. And then turning the work and working back up in the next stitch, which would be a full row of half trebles or half doubles if you are US terms. And so I've just repeated the pattern until this entire side panel was done, then repeated the process along the top of the blanket, but I only did a few rows at the top of the blanket, mainly because I started to run out of blue yarn. And the final step was a little border. I was going to make the border a lot thicker, but it just didn't end up needing it. Alright, as you guys can see, the blanket is a bit wonky. That means it needs a good block. But I'm going to take it really slow with the blocking, and I'm going to make sure this blanket's all lovely and clean. As you can see, it's a good like pushchair blanket or like a tummy time blanket. I am so pleased with how that tapestry of the robin has come out. Once again, with my tapestries, as I said, with the mushroom banner, I'll make patterns if people request them for the tapestries, and I'll get them up on Ravelry. Alright everyone, I will see you next week for hopefully a less rushed video. Bye YouTube!